Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend. In this video, we're going to talk about a concept that I've discussed many times, and especially over the last series of videos that I've been doing, I've been discussing it more often because I feel it's really important that we understand that we live in a time today where there's far more opportunity than has ever existed. And it was always the case, even when this book came out. It's just that now it's even more obvious. We have the internet, we have resources, we have information, we have technologies, and now more than ever before, we are able to create the results that we want in life, business, and success, easier than ever before. However, the fundamentals always remain the same. There are certain concepts that are tried, tested, and true that when applied, and it's been the secret of the ages, going back from Think and Grow Rich, and even before that, books like the Kabbalah, the Bible, has the same information in there. All concepts leading to one paramount thought, and Earl Nightingale put it in The Strangest Secret this way: we become what we think about. We become what we think about. So this book right here, which is a very short read, is important for entrepreneurs and those that are interested in working with the various opportunities and resources that we have today available in our world to create the results of contribution, success for ourselves, and service for others. And the way to do it is to focus on the signal versus the noise. You see, we can get overwhelmed by complexity, and the reason why we get overwhelmed by complexity is because we lose sight of our vision. We create a goal, we start moving towards it, and then what happens is we might end up getting distracted, or we might end up in different situations that don't necessarily move us towards our goal. And what we need to do is recalibrate from there and realize that those were lessons, lessons that were designed to teach us to keep our attention and awareness on our vision. So that's why I want to talk about today. I want to talk about visualization, and I want to add more depth and dimension to the discussions that we've had, as well as build upon the foundations that I created in my program on how to program your subconscious mind for success, the training program that I released last week. So this is further reflection and further understandings that I've developed that I want to relate back to this book. And I believe that this book, as short as it is, a very powerful framework for understanding how to work with visualization. So let's talk about how this is related to entrepreneurship. A while back, I had the fortunate pleasure of meeting John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods, and I found him to be one of the most pragmatic, down-to-earth, conscious, and just all-around good guy. He was just very present with his energy, but you could tell he has a lot of power, and he had the ability to see beyond. He's a visionary, and he created a lot of success by founding Whole Foods and eventually selling Whole Foods, and he wrote a book called Conscious Capitalism, which I want to discuss. The world of entrepreneurship has changed dramatically. You're seeing nowadays more and more people creating businesses that are not only designed to create the life and well-being that we want to build for ourselves as entrepreneurs, but contribute to the lives of others, benefiting others, changing things around the world so that we evolve to a higher place of contribution and consciousness in all of our decisions that we make. This is the trend of entrepreneurs nowadays. It's not a trend. It is a way of being that is a net result of consciousness rising. And I always refer back to Letting Go by David Hawkins and Power versus Force. It's important to study that information because this is where we're going. Consciousness is rising. And in order to thrive in the world of entrepreneurship, we have to understand that everything we do needs to come from a place of, yes, benefiting ourselves and creating profit, and also being of service of others, not just in the short term, but in the long term, and contributing to all, as well as contributing towards a higher purpose, a vision of evolution. This is what we know to be true. Business is good because it creates value. It is ethical because it is based on voluntary exchange. It is noble because it can elevate our existence. And it is heroic because it lifts people out of poverty and creates prosperity. John Mackey, Conscious Capitalism. See, entrepreneurship is a journey of contribution. It's a journey of contribution. And as mentioned earlier in the video, and I always mention this, we live in a time right where there's so much opportunity to be an entrepreneur. And even if you work in a company, you can aspire to incorporate the various elements and principles and philosophies of the entrepreneur to create more value for those that you serve. Even if you're not directly dealing with the marketplace, you are able to apply the principles and philosophies that we talk about related to entrepreneurship to serving those that you work with, your clients, your vendors, your staff. If you're a leader, to apply these philosophies to lead people towards a win-win outcome. And I say win-win-win. Win for you, win for them, and win for the vision. Win for the vision. Now, what is this vision that we're talking about? Well, I actually want to pull up some important elements that I'd covered in the Subconscious Mind training program. And one of my favorite models to help us really understand this concept of vision, which is important to incorporate when we're visualizing, is the Robert Dilts model. So I'll explain it briefly in detail just so we get an idea of how it works. I refer to this model a lot in everything that I do. It's been one of the most helpful and most powerful models to help me stay focused towards the vision that I'm creating and remaining consistent throughout the process. And it works like this. On the top, we have our vision, and then what flows from that is our identity, and what flows from that is our values and beliefs, and then our capabilities, and then our behaviors, and then finally the environment. And it's our behaviors that influence the environment. Okay, it's our behaviors that influence the environment. Now, it flows from our vision all the way to the top. And we influence the behaviors of ourselves, and we influence the behaviors of others as a result of everything trickling down from the vision. So it's important then to have a clear vision. And if you don't have a clear vision right now, understand one of my favorite philosophies, that actions create clarity. So the more actions you take by having faith that you will discover your vision, the clearer you become on what your vision is. It's a process, it's a journey, and everybody goes through this. So what happens is that you're constantly refining these areas. From your vision, you form your identity, okay, identity as the entrepreneur, or identity as the father, or a person who is contributing in the lives of, or whatnot, including deep identities, such as how much you love and respect yourself, or lack thereof. Because all these things drive your values and beliefs. These are elements, your values and beliefs, that are programmed as a result of experiences that you have in your life. Different experiences in your life form your values and beliefs. And we want to understand if the values and beliefs that were formed through various experiences, positive or negative in our life, is aligned with our identity and our vision. Now, this is exciting stuff because you could dedicate your entire life to be in alignment with the Dilts model. And I promise you this, the more you work on it, the easier it is to incorporate these principles that are talked about in this book. So vision is what we're going to focus on in this video. But the Dilts model is very helpful because it helps us identify who we are aspiring to become, and then as a result of that, imagine who this person is so we can use it in our visualization. This person, this visual person that you see yourself becoming to create the results that you want, has certain values and beliefs that are harmonious with that vision. For example, if you would like to become an entrepreneur, you can't have a value and belief of disempowerment towards money and being of service to others. You have to embrace things like marketing and selling, because if you don't, then what's going to happen is you're going to have some disconnects, and you're probably not going to be able to influence the environment the way that would be optimal to produce the results. And if the goal with our vision is to be of service to ourselves, others, and a higher purpose, then we want to adjust our values and beliefs, capabilities, and behaviors so that it influences the environment in that way. This is an exciting journey. We get an opportunity to work on all these areas, and it's identified by using the concept of the Dilts model. So capabilities would be things like skills that you would have to develop. And as a result of the capabilities, for example, public speaking, your behaviors are performed in relation to the capability or your level of development in that capability. Your voice tonality, how you communicate with your eyes, your body language, your gestures, if you're able to communicate in front of large groups, small groups, the words you use, why you say what you do, how you say it, and what it means, and more importantly, how does it impact and influence others? Okay, we're talking about environment here. Do your words create behavioral change through inspiration? A lot of different factors related to the concept of visualization in relation to the Dilts model. I recommend you study it. The next one is the way of the magician. Okay, I like this one. I incorporated this in the program. I learned this from Wyatt Woodsmall as part of a training that I went through. And the idea behind this conceptual model, that there are 4 elements to become the so-called magician. If you really think about it, when we're visualizing something and then we're able to turn it into a reality-based result, like the environment now has this thing that we once visualized, we are actually performing to some degree this magic. We're able to take an idea and turn it into reality. Steve Jobs was a visionary. John Mackey is a visionary. They take an idea, a concept that is totally new, and create it into reality. So is every entrepreneur. And every entrepreneur takes an idea or a vision and is able to turn that into reality by using things like the Dilts model. So there's 4 areas that we want to develop. Focus of will. We want to focus our energy and our intent on our vision, and we want to direct our values, beliefs, capabilities, and behaviors into the environment from our vision. We have to use our will. We have to develop will to be able to do that. Next is level of awareness. Our ability to identify the different meanings that we give to things in our surroundings. And depending on the kind of meaning that you give to things, it can reorient you off your vision. If you find yourself having a vision, but constantly being distracted away from your vision, it's probably because there are things within your awareness that cause you to be distracted. Perhaps they lead you down a pathway of disempowerment. Perhaps they lead you down a pathway of anger and frustration. Understand that whatever comes within your awareness to you in your environment, you are able to change the meaning to it in a way that serves your vision. You can change the meaning to it. That data is captured through your level of awareness. Okay, having a level of awareness. Focus of will, level of awareness, and constantly working to develop your awareness. We can increase our awareness. How do we increase our awareness? We raise our level of consciousness. Okay, we raise our level of consciousness. And if you want to know more about that, again, David Hawkins' books, Power versus Force and Letting Go, can teach you how to raise your level of consciousness. Because when you have a higher degree of consciousness, you are able to see the implications of every action that you take. And the higher you raise your consciousness, the further you see the actions being played out over the long term, how they impact one thing to a next thing to the next thing, like a domino effect. This is really valuable as an entrepreneur. Why? Because then you can see the long-term implications, and if it's going to produce the results, is it going to create the success, is it going to help and create value, because people are more than likely nowadays aware and have a higher degree of consciousness, and they realize that if you're trying to sell something to them and it's not of value, you're not going to be able to persuade them like how you did back then, because people have more awareness nowadays. People have consciousness is going up. So thus, if you're able to see how far you can, as far as you can, as a result of what cause you put out, then as a result of that, you're able to adjust your sales and marketing and the various business efforts to reach out and connect with the people in the different sequences that they're in, as far as their thought processes and where they are in the buying decisions, and all that stuff is sales. I'm not going to talk about it right now. Through your level of awareness, and you'll be able to attract more of those people. And you'll be able to adjust your vision accordingly. All this stuff feeds off each other. Next is purity of intent. So again, because we live in a time today where there's more opportunity than ever before, the goal is to be real. We don't have to fake it. We don't have to lie. We can create a successful business, one where we have a lot of joy and happiness and peace, by being real and honest and really having a genuine desire to serve the marketplace. This requires purifying your intent, being clear with people, being clear with your marketplace, and this is an ongoing journey that you can get better at. Because what does that mean? See, a lot of communication is miscommunication. We might think that when we're communicating to somebody, that they're receiving the message exactly how we intend it to be. And until we learn the various communication modalities and how other people see reality, we just have a bias to think that they should listen to the information the way we're presenting it to them and they should understand it. That's just a form of confirmation bias that's not in our favor. So what we do is we work on various skills to purify our intent. Next is quality of character. As mentioned, as consciousness rises, we want to keep into consideration the importance of being of service to others with our product or services, as well as serving ourselves, because we want to create profitable businesses so that we can grow and thrive, as well as serving evolution, a higher purpose. Now, why am I bringing up all these things? Because this is designed to be a video built on this book to dimensionalize what she talked about in there, to help you create your vision. Everything that I'm giving you right now can help you build your vision to an even higher degree, to an even higher level. If your vision is not in alignment with the service to others, service to yourself, and a higher purpose, what you're going to find is there's going to be a lot of resistance to be able to create it in reality. Because where humanity is going, where we're evolving to, is to this place. So it's important to keep your vision as much in alignment with this as possible. And if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, then creating your vision from this perspective will create more success. You'll find this to be true in the current state of affairs with entrepreneurship. More and more businesses are creating success as a result of keeping these three elements in process or in consideration. So improving your quality of character and ethics and values and so forth that are related to that helps you create a more powerful vision. A vision where more and more people will be on board with you. Your vision will be in alignment with others' visions, and as a result, you'll have more support and more buy-in. So the final thing I want to talk about is inner world, outer world. So the important element of this book is that you create your reality. Okay, you are the one that has control of the influence that you have, and you can see here, according to Dilts' model, you have the ability to adjust yourself within so that you could provide optimal stimulus towards the environment to produce the results that you want. This is all done in your inner world. Okay, this is the vision part. Visualizing is an orientation. Now, when we talk about visualization, we're not just talking about passively imagining things. We like to use the philosophy that we learned from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, the burning desire. When you visualize what you want to create and you get excited about this vision, you develop what he calls the burning desire, a passion towards it. See, with your visual image, you are mentally aligned with it. With the emotionalization, the burning desire, you get passionate about it. You get excited about it. And the actions flow automatically from there. If you have a burning desire, you have no problem waking up in the morning and going to do the things that you know you have to do to produce the results. If you have a burning desire, you won't miss a workout in the gym. If you have a burning desire, then everything that you do, absolutely wherever you go, is giving you information to contribute towards your vision. That's passion. And so thus, it's very important to be in alignment. That's all done with the inner world. Your actions and your behaviors are flowing from you as a result, and go back to Dilts' model, your values and beliefs and your identity. So a bulk of the work has to be done internally, and it starts with the vision, visualizing. So let's look at these two definitions. We want to come from a place of empowerment versus disempowerment. What does it mean? Empowerment, the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights, okay, done within. Disempowerment, to deprive of power, authority, or influence, make weak, ineffectual, or unimportant, okay, within. See, we can pay attention to some information, and if it's disempowering information, we can choose not to accept it into our values and beliefs. Maybe in earlier stages of life, we didn't think we had a choice. But now, because our awareness is going up, and there are different kinds of understandings and knowledge available to help us change our values and beliefs, we realize that we have a choice to choose, and we can pick. It's our choice. The empowering beliefs that serve us towards our vision. Disempowering beliefs, more than likely, will not serve your vision. So it's important to remember, take inventory of your values and beliefs that you have, and surround yourself with information, circumstances, people, environments that empower you towards your vision. Why? Because then it becomes easier. You can be born in an environment that has a lot of stimulus towards a vision, that is one of empowerment, and then as a result of your program to operate from that perspective, you're more likely to do empowerment behaviors, or you're more likely to be empowered. But if you're not born in that environment, then you have to make a conscious effort to do it in the beginning, to value this. And the beauty of it is it starts with your vision. See, as I mentioned earlier, if you've got a vision and you know what you want to create with yourself and the life you want to live and the contributions you're going to make and evolution, then what's going to happen is you are going to follow a process of visualization and emotionalizing that visualization, keeping your mind on that vision, and then you're going to be motivated to move into action. This is how everybody starts out. Remember one thing as we move on to the concepts and the different quotes that I've pulled from the book. Everyone knows that joy comes from within. No one can give it to you. Another may give you cause for joy, but no one can be joyous for you. Joy is a state of consciousness, and consciousness is purely mental. See, if you don't believe that you're worthy of your vision, you might devalue certain situations that are actually joyful. There are certain things in entrepreneurship that when you value your vision, you're going to transmute what others would consider to be problems as exciting opportunities. That's because it comes from within, your values and beliefs within. You're changing them within, and then how you navigate reality is different. You're able to find joy in all things. And the reason why I put that in there is because that's one of the things we have to realize when we're creating a vision. Our vision doesn't have to be stressful. Okay, it doesn't have to be one of frustration and anger and resentment. It can be joyous. We can create the reality that we want from our vision from a place of joyousness, and we have more than enough resources and opportunities available today than ever before to be able to do it. There are automation tools and different kinds of things that you can work with to create a business using the internet. And as a result of it, all these things are smoother than ever before. And the frustrations of dealing with complexity and all kinds of dynamics when it comes to perhaps dealing with people that might not see your vision are almost non-existent nowadays. So you can create businesses that are joyful, that you can enjoy to do, but you have to first believe it's possible. You have to first believe it. So one of the things that she mentions in this book is that when you're focusing on your vision, to remember to keep your vision joyous and to be joyous about the whole process, to be lighthearted about it, and to realize that you can create your results by being joyous. Now, when you do that, even if you don't believe it to be true right now, understand something, that with repetition, you're going to find the supporting information and evidence in your environment to make it so. So let's talk about visualization, otherwise known as your mental picture. The exercise of visualizing faculty keeps your mind in order and attracts to you the things you need to make life more enjoyable in an orderly way. So visualizing, the very act of visualizing the outcome that you want to create, is going to allow you to recalibrate your awareness to areas that are already within your awareness to orient you towards your vision. These kinds of different elements will become aware to you more so than ever before. If you want to be able to tap into this ability, you have to first start with the vision. What is it that you're looking to create? What kind of impact does it have in the lives of others? How will you be rewarded, and what kind of joy will you receive from this? Now, there's many ways of doing this. You can write it out. I have a friend who does a perfect day and writes out the perfect day, the ideal scenario when he's living the vision. I like to use subconscious mind programming audios. And while I'm listening to the audios I talk about in my program that I've created, I visualize and I emotionalize myself already in the attainment of those things. Now, why am I doing that? Well, I'm doing it because that's programming my subconscious mind to put awareness on those things in my environment. Anyone who hangs around with me always comments about how I'm able to always see the good in things. And the reason why I'm able to do this was because I once learned that there was others that can do this. There was some saint, I can't remember what his name was, but he was always able to see the good in every situation. And what I noticed is that successful entrepreneurs were always able to do that as well. So I said, what if I program myself to become like that? So I started imagining myself being like that. And that was a number of years ago. And now I live like that. That's my way of being. Now I come from a background where that's totally opposite of how I used to be. So I can vouch for the power of visualization. Now, this requires persistence and consistency. See, because it's easier to allow the noise of other people's opinions to drown out your own vision. As Steve Jobs put it, he said, don't let the noise of other people's opinions drown out your own inner voice. The inner voice can also be related to the vision. When you have your vision, you can easily be swayed into a different direction. It's important to recalibrate to the vision and understand that if you are swayed, then again, not to be resentful and anger ridden, go back to the levels of consciousness by David Hawkins and understand that acceptance is the way. When you accept that this is how reality works, you don't fight against it, and then you reorient yourself. Not from a place of denial, but from a place of understanding. Having reached a state of orderly mentality, you are no longer in a constant state of mental hurry. Hurry is fear and consequently destructive. See, the more you focus on your vision, and it's important to do this in the morning and at night. Napoleon Hill calls it autosuggestion. In The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, he talks about keeping a card on you and reading it to yourself, visualizing and emotionalizing. And then all throughout the day, wherever you are, in all places, ask yourself, how is this orienting me towards my vision? With everything you do. If you don't see the connect to that, then you got to ask yourself, why are you there? You got to question it. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that whatever you're doing is bad. You just have to question it. So maybe it is related to your vision. That's what I'm getting at. So what happens is that the more you question everything you do and you track it back to your vision, okay, first starting with your vision and being clear with it and getting clear throughout the process, as mentioned, using things like the Dilts model, you'll realize that everything in reality is actually orienting you towards your vision. Now, why would I say that? Sounds contrarian to what I said earlier, maybe a little bit. But let's look at a perspective shift here. Things are helping you move towards your vision as in accelerating your vision, contributing to your vision, or things are revealing to you about yourself of your own limiting beliefs and values or your subconscious mind programming that's causing you to replay scenarios in your reality that actually causes you to set back. And thus, when you understand how those things work and you reprogram those elements within you, and you do it from a place of acceptance, okay, acceptance outside, which is acceptance yourself, you will thank those situations. You'll make peace with those situations. You will learn from those experiences and you won't repeat them again. So as a result of it, having the vision, you're not in a mental hurry. See, those in a mental hurry are not practicing awareness. They're not present. They're not practicing gratitude. Gratitude is one of the important elements. You hear this a lot talked about in personal development. And the reason why gratitude is important is because it allows you to become present, value where you are right now. See, the best place you could ever be is where you are right now. There is no better place. And until you realize that, and until you learn to accept it and value it, you're not going to have the level of awareness required to be able to pick up such nuances in your environment of orientation towards your vision. Because you're not looking at the present. You're not valuing the present. You're always wishing that you were somewhere else. Now, the beauty is this. The more you practice it, the more you're moving towards your vision, the faster you'll be able to create your vision. You'll move on to new visions, and then you'll be surrounded by abundance everywhere you go. And then maybe people might look at you and say, well, it's easy for you to have gratitude. Look at all the amazing things that you got in your life. What they might not realize is that it was a process to get to this point, and they have that opportunity right now. But you'll know it. So it's important to start practicing it. And realize this, no matter where you are, you can always practice more gratitude. You can always practice more gratitude. And the more gratitude you give to the various problems, circumstances, situations, and elements in your environment, okay, let's go back to the Dilts model here. In relation to your environment, the environment, you see, that's the biggest part of the pyramid at the bottom here, is telling you what needs to be optimized as far as your behavior, capabilities, values, beliefs, identity, and vision. Reversal. Okay, it works from the top down, and the down, which is the environment, gives you stimulus and understanding so you could reverse it back up to purify your vision and do all these other things related to the Dilts model to move you forward. The conscious use of this great power attracts to you multiplied resources, intensifies your wisdom, and enables you to make use of advantages which you formerly failed to recognize. Very important. If I look back at my life, and I'm very blessed with the successes that I'm able to be enjoying right now and leveling up to for the next level as I continue to rise up, because this is an ongoing journey, I realized that there's a lot of different experiences that I had in my life that I didn't value. A lot of people that I didn't value as much as I could. And as a result of working on raising my consciousness and working with this information, I now, where I am right now, value everyone to a degree that I have never done before. And I'll continue to do that. And it's so important to do that because by doing that, you're able to see things in yourself you've never seen before. You'll realize that there are many amazing people in front of you that are teaching you about yourself. And they're actually good people. And they care about you. And when you start to value that, they can feel it. And they'll appreciate you. And then together you'll work as a team, and they'll work with you to create your vision. So understand that there are many advantages that you had failed to recognize in the past that were not disadvantages, that includes people, and you can begin today to see that in people that you connect with, and I promise you it'll be very, very worthwhile. Holding your mental picture. If you will insist upon mentally seeing yourself surrounded by things and conditions as you wish them to be, you will understand that the creative energy sends its substance in the direction indicated by the tendency of your thoughts. Herein lies the advantage of holding your thought in the form of a mental picture. Now think of this as a compass. You are here experiencing reality. You're present. You're aware. You're enjoying the moment. You're in the best place that you could ever be. And you're so full of gratitude and you're appreciating everything and everyone. And from this place, you are checking in on your vision. You're connecting back to your vision. And you're seeing how there's so much information contributing towards your vision. And as a result of it, you're not distracted. And as a result of it, you value your present environment even more than ever before. And every moment in this present environment is teaching you tons of lessons. And as a result of it, more and more opportunities present themselves. And you can choose the opportunity within the present moment. And you can move in that direction that will lead you towards your vision. That comes from believing, number one, that it's so. And number two, realizing that that's exactly how it works. By practicing what we're talking about here, you'll start to see it even more. The more enthusiasm and faith you are able to put into your picture, the more quickly it will come into visible form. And your enthusiasm is increased by keeping your desire secret. The moment you speak of it to any living soul, that moment your power is weakened. Now, why does she say this? Because remember we talked about purity of intent. It's important to have people in your lives that are aligned with your intent. And when you build a deeper connection with them and you realize that they're really for your intent, you can express and share. But as entrepreneurs, we're creating something in reality for the most part that has never existed. And when we communicate it with people, we don't know if they're going to throw their bias into it. So we don't necessarily have to do that. It's not something we need to do. What we do need to do is hold true to our vision. Trust our vision. Keep our focus on our vision. And we're going to get a gut instinct. We're going to feel when it's right to share it with somebody. And a lot of times I found myself, now that I've been practicing this more and more, is I know who to share what with. I know exactly who to share what with. It's because I've learned to trust myself. And there's always a point where you're about to share your desire of what you want to create with someone, and you have a doubt before you share it with them. and then you go and share it with them and they say something that's disempowering to you. Understand something, that we're working in reality to co-create existence. And if you believe in your vision and you realize that by communicating it to somebody prior to communicating that to them, that there's going to be some kind of weird energy, I want you to start honoring that feeling. See, a lot of us in entrepreneurship spend far more time talking about the things that we're going to do, when the truth is this: actions, influencing the environment, that's where the results happen. We influence the environment through action. It's important to, when you learn these things, different kinds of information, to act and apply it right away, as fast as you can. Before you have the need to go and talk about it, reorient yourself to take action on what you learn and apply it. Right after this video, take some action. Apply at least one of these principles and keep that momentum going. And as a result of it, you'll value your time, because you have 24 hours in a day, and you've got your time, you've got your energy, and you've got your opportunity cost. And your opportunity cost is most of the time far better off in implementation than it is to go around talking about it just to explode your ego or make yourself feel better. We do not want to masquerade anything as accomplishment that is outside of the very specific things that we know we have to do towards our vision. It is this power which enables you to transfer your thoughts from one form to another. The power to change your mind is the individualized universal power taking the initiative, giving direction to the unformed substance contained in every thought. Now, the more you do the things that we're talking about in this video, and which is why I recommend re-listening to this video many times, because there's a lot of pieces in here, a lot of nuance. And the more you do this, the more you realize that you will amplify your power by following this process. You will move with more conviction, authority, not from a place of force, but from a place of power. Be sure to know exactly what conditions you wish to produce. This is why we go back to quality of character, realizing the different elements that we gain from our awareness, practicing the different elements in the Dilts model, to go back and adjust our vision as a result of the different data points that we capture throughout the process. Because the results are going to be created with exact precision. See, what happens is we might consciously say we want success, and we might have somewhat of a vision, but then what happens is we go out and do the things, we end up creating all these disempowering situations or negative outcomes. That's because the subconscious mind is not in line. One of my favorite sayings from Carl Jung is that you don't become enlightened by imagining beings of light, but by making the darkness conscious. By making the darkness conscious. And what is this darkness? It's the areas you haven't realized about yourself. Okay, this is a journey of self-realization. The more you realize about yourself, the specific you're able to make your vision, the more specific you're able to understand what are the different pieces of the Dilts model that are related to your vision, the more you will seek counsel for those specific elements, and the more you'll be involved with your craft, doing the things that you know you have to do. Very important to read Mastery by Robert Greene. I did a discussion on it. Once you understand this is the vision that you want, then go to work by applying the principles in Mastery, and we're talking some fast-track results there. By letting your thought dwell upon a mental picture, you are connecting, or I should say concentrating, the creative action of spirit in the center where its forces are equally balanced. Remember, when you are visualizing properly, that there is no strenuous effort to hold your thought forms in place. You don't have to use force, because putting excessive strength and force defeats your purpose and suggests the consciousness of an adverse force to be fought against, and this creates conditions adverse to your picture. This is an important element. This is one of the key breakthroughs that I've had in my last year in consulting and coaching. Now, after working with a whole bunch of clients and reflecting back on successes and failures that I've had in my life, I realized a very important piece is that To create the results, we don't have to create it from a place of frustration and stress. It doesn't have to be that way. We live in a time where there's so much opportunity to create it from a place of joy, from a place of happiness. Now, this doesn't mean you're not going to be engaged in doing things. Of course you will. But you're going to learn how to enjoy the process. And you're actually going to feel joy in the process. That's because you're going to be in alignment. And this starts with seeing it this way. So going back to the beginning when I brought up the relation to entrepreneurship and joy, realize that it is totally possible, and I live like this more than ever before, to create your vision from a place of joy, from a place of happiness. And as a result of that, you'll be able to create an amazing life for yourself as a result of the abundance that you bring in, which comes from the service that you provide. In fact, nowadays, more than ever before, it's easier to create and multiply service when you realize there's all these technologies and things that exist in a way that doesn't require you to put in as much energy and time. It requires creative thinking. Now, if you want to attract those ideas, then create your vision from that perspective and realize this last quote here, that if you infuse in your process force, then you're going to create your story towards your outcome from that place of force. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you want a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.